Hello everyone. Hello
Hello, teacher.
Gislaine. How are you today? Marcia, Regina, how are you girls? All right?
All right, teacher, and you?
Mario, I'm okay. I'm very well indeed. Okay?
Okay, teacher. Where do
So,
you?
yes.
Bru, Bruges, no,
No, Brussels.
Brussels, Brussels.
Yes, I went to Brussels today, this morning.
Mhm.
Because there is a big difference of time between here and there. So I have time to enjoy myself during the day and I can come back in the evening to give you the class.
Ah,
All right?
yes.
Yes, when I went to Brussels was like 8 o'clock in the morning. Brazil was 3 o'clock. Okay,
Yes.
so you were still sleeping. I was already having a good time walking around, taking pictures. Okay, that's the advantage. Okay.
Okay.
All right, everyone is here except for Erica that sent me a message saying she's not going to be here for some time. She's in the hospital with her mother. But anyway, I think we can start our class regularly. Let me share my screen with you. I think we stopped at my favorite lesson yesterday, talking about
Bread,
bread.
bread
Oh,
making.
All right?
All right.
all right.
So we did talk about these. I remember that you asked me some questions that you had, but just to make sure you get the right pronunciation, because there are some different words here, okay? I'm
Yes.
going to play it one more time for you. It's a very quick passage. Just listen, and then you are gonna read. And of course, as usual, if you have any other question, I'll be more than happy to help you, okay? So
Okay.
listen again, but now you can look normally.
Bread Baking, Now and Then by Readworks.
Okay, can you listen okay?
Did you know
Yes.
that bread is
Okay.
one of the earliest human inventions? Bread is a food made of flour and water. Other ingredients and shape can vary. Scientists have learned that humans have been eating bread in some form or another for 30,000 years. Ancient Egyptians ate a lot of bread. In fact, because they had no potatoes or rice, bread was the most important carbohydrate source in the ancient Egyptians' diet. Egypt gets little rain. Ancient Egyptian farmers relied on the annual flooding of the Nile River to irrigate their fields. Egyptian farmers paid a portion of their grain harvest to the Egyptian treasury. Archaeologists have discovered illustrations of bakeries and loaves of bread in ancient Egyptian burial sites. Professional bakers and home bakers used the same production techniques. Home bakers, usually women, baked only the bread they would need for that day. Egyptians used a grain from emmer wheat for their bread. The grain was ground by hand on a millstone. This process cracked and crushed the grain into coarse flour. The flour was mixed with water and sometimes a little old dough. It was placed in a pot and baked in a clay oven. This Egyptian bread was a flatbread. Indian naan and Middle Eastern pita are two examples of flatbreads eaten today. At the end of the ancient Egyptian period, however, around 300 BC, Egyptian bakers added to their bread an important ingredient: yeast. Yeast is a microscopic fungus. It makes bread rise. Today, bread production is more complicated. Yes, you can still bake your own bread at home with store-bought flour and yeast. You can also buy bread made at small bakeries. But the fluffy bread you see in grocery stores in the United States today is made in large commercial facilities. These commercial facilities, or plants, have business contracts to bake many different bread brands. Most breads today are made using 4 basic ingredients: flour, yeast, salt, and water. Farmers across the United States grow wheat in large quantities. Half of the wheat produced is used in the United States. The other half is exported to other countries. Grain is processed into flour by companies which then sell the flour to commercial bakeries. These bakeries produce the dough and bake the bread, then package it and arrange for its distribution to stores.
Excellent. Did you happen to find any other word or expression that you're not familiar with, or you want to read first and then discuss? Gislaine, Dirce, Regina, Márcia, what would you like to do first? Let's read and then discuss.
Yes.
Teacher, Emir.
Emmer.
Yes.
Okay. It's the only thing I can tell you is that emmer is a type of wheat. Okay?
Okay.
It's just like rice. Okay? Only in Thailand, you're not going to believe this, but you can check with Google. Only in Thailand, there are more than 1,200 different types of rice. Can you believe that?
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable. Only in Thailand. Now, I don't know about Japan, China, where they eat a lot of rice, okay? So emmer is a type of wheat. I don't even know if it's available today, because that was like a long time ago, before Christ, BC. That means before Christ. Okay? So we are talking about more than 2,000 years ago. More, no, 2,300 years ago. Okay?
Okay.
So let's read these and then we can stop, of course, if you have any other question. I can even try to see if Google has a photograph of emmer, okay? Because I don't know if it's still available nowadays. So, Dirce, I hope you're fine. Could you please read the first paragraph for us, please?
Yes. Did you know that bread is one of the earliest human invention? Bread is food made of flour and water. Other ingredients and shape can vary. Scientists have learned that humans have seen eating bread in some form or another for 30,000 years.
Yes, 30,000 years.
Ancient Egyptians ate a lot of bread. In fact, because they had no potatoes or rice, bread was the most important carbohydrate source in the ancient
Perfect, Dirce.
Egyptians' diet.
Okay, thank you. Okay, nowadays, many people don't say carbohydrate, they only say carb. They abbreviate. Americans love abbreviating everything, okay? So it's carb, okay? So anyway, Ghislaine, of course, you can always find something or practically everything you're looking for, but it's kind of a funny wheat, this emmer, okay? Because if you look, yes, I don't know if you can see, it's green. It's not yellow.
Oh, yeah.
You see, like the wheat we have in Brazil is kind of yellow. This is green. And you also have, yes, and you also have black. I had never seen. Oh, I found it when I was searching for emmer, photo of emmer. I found that there is a black wheat, just like you have the black garlic. Have you ever seen a black garlic?
Yes.
Garlic.
Yeah, you know what's garlic?
Yeah. Alho.
Yes.
Alho. There is a black garlic, and you also have a black, okay? Oh, let me see if I can help you. Let me find something to put at the back of the phone so you'll be able to see it. Oh, no, it doesn't help. You can see the paper, but it's a black one. So there are thousands of different types of wheat too, okay?
Okay.
All right. Another question about this or no?
No.
So observe, I said that the Egyptians were making bread 2,500 years ago, but scientists discovered that the humans already made bread 30,000 years ago. That's a long, long time, okay?
Yes.
Ghislaine, can you read the other part that is on the screen, please? Egypt
Yeah.
gets little rain.
Okay. Egypt gets little rain. Ancient.
No, ancient.
Ancient.
Egyptian.
Egyptian farmers rely on the annual flooding of the Nile River to irrigate their fields. Egyptian farmers paid a portion of their grain harvest to the Egyptian
Treasure.
Archaeologists have discovered illustrations of bakeries and
Loaves of bread.
of bread in
Ancient
Egyptian burial
There-
sites.
burial
Burial sites.
sites.
Professional bakers and home bakers use the same production techniques. Home bakers, usually women, baked only the bread they would need for that day.
Okay, let's talk about pronunciation here. Egypt gets little rain. Okay, ancient Egyptians farmer relied on. The verb in English is, yes, the verb is to rely. And as I mentioned yesterday, rely, we always say rely on someone or something. Always. That is the same of depend on. I depend on you. I rely on you to finish that. Okay?
Okay.
So ancient Egyptian farmers relied on the annual flooding of the Nile River to irrigate their fields. Oh, it's a long E, fields. Egyptian farmers paid a portion of their grain harvest to the Egyptian treasury. Yes. In English, when you see si and su, this combination of sounds, usually the S is pronounced J. For example, Asia. Oh, usually. Usual. Okay, usual. It's always J when I have C and Su. Okay? So, Egyptian treasury. Okay?
Okay.
And the rest was fine. Burial, because the verb is to bury, then changing the verb to an adjective becomes burial sites. Another question about this part or no? Hello, Mr. Malinovsky. Welcome.
Oh, teacher, how are you?
Good. Yourself?
Good, too.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is Ghislaine. Regina, can you read this other part for me, please?
Egyptians use the grain from emmer wheat for their
Wheat.
Emir,
Wet is if you after you take a shower, your hair is wet. Then you need to dry your hair. Probably you have a long hair, then you need a hair dryer. Okay.
yes.
I myself need nothing. Okay.
Okay. I remember this.
Okay. So
I
I'm
wet. You're the same case. Yes.
I'm true.
Yes. Yes. All right. Sorry to hear that. Okay. So wet, wet. Yeah, wet is the opposite of dry. Okay, like at this moment, my little hair is not wet. My hair is dry. But when it's wet, it's the same. There is no difference, okay?
Okay.
And here we say wheat.
Wheat.
Wheat. Yes, like you
Wheat.
smile. Wheat for
Wheat.
their bread.
Emir wheat for their bread.
The grain was ground.
The grain was ground by hand on a millstone.
Millstone, yes.
Millstone. This process cracked and crushed the grain into coarse flour. The flour was mixed with water and sometimes a little old dough.
Dough.
Dough. A little old
No,
dough.
dough. Only dough.
Dough. Only dough.
Okay? You don't pronounce the GH. You say only dough. Dough.
Little old. It was placed in a pot and baked. Placed in a pot and baked in a
Clay
oven.
Clay oven.
Clay oven.
Okay. Is there any question about this part or no question?
No.
Understand this, Marcel?
Yes.
Okay, Gislaine. Okay, this.
Yes,
Teacher,
okay. Okay.
millstone.
Yes, millstone.
Millstone.
Yes. You see, nowadays, we have a little machine where we put coffee, beans, or we put wheat, beans, and we grind them.
Oh,
The verb is to grind, okay? Like when you want to make hamburgers, you go to the supermarket, you ask for a piece of meat and beef usually, and you ask the guy to grind it. He puts in a machine and grind. This is verb is used for meat, for coffee, it's used for wheat, okay? So the past tense of grind is ground, okay? So the grain was ground because it's passive construction. It's the same of, for example, they ground the wheat by hand. When I change to the passive, I say the wheat was ground by hand. So this part is okay. Do you believe they had like a grinder, an electrical grinder at that time? Of course not.
No.
There were no machines. There was not even electricity, understand? So they would get the wheat and grind it by hand on a millstone. A millstone is like a container where you punch, and you grind the things. It's kind of similar to a mortar. Today in many kitchens, like in my kitchen, I know I have one because my wife uses. She has a little millstone, but when it's little, we call it mortar. And then she grinds garlic with herbs in order to cook, okay?
Okay.
But when it's small, it's not possible to grind coffee or to grind wheat. So this was kind of big. I think you have already seen in movies, sometimes they would have a big wheel, made of a rock, a stone, and this would be pulled by a horse in circle, and that would go like and grind the things, corn in order to make corn flour, wheat to make wheat flour, okay?
Okay. And
Okay.
teacher, pita and a kind of bread?
It's funny, pita is the same name we use in Brazil,
Okay.
pita bread. You know,
Pita
when
bread.
you, yes, I'm trying to remember if in Brazil we use pita. I think I use pita, but I don't know if Brazilians use pita.
Here, no. I don't know.
No, are you sure?
No. Yes. In São
You know,
Paulo.
like, you know, like when you go to a Lebanese restaurant,
Yes, yes.
Yes.
yes,
But
that is the
no.
pita bread,
Pita.
okay?
Pão sírio.
Ah, okay, okay. Yes. The
Here,
name of that is
called-
pita, okay?
Okay. Okay.
They say Syrian bread, yes, okay, all right. But that is a pita. In Lebanon,
the same.
the type. In Lebanon, in Syria, they say pita. But if
Okay.
you go to India, they say naan. Naan is the name of the bread
Naan.
there. It's the same. Pita,
Yes.
naan, okay? Are two examples of flat breads. In Brazil, I think, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about anything in Brazil. In a supermarket, you can find a flat bread called wrap. Can you find that in a supermarket?
wrap.
A wrap?
Yes, wrap. Yes, there are here.
Yes. So wrap is probably the American equivalent of a pita. Understand?
Okay.
The difference, in my opinion, is that a wrap is not possible to cut open. And a pita, you can cut open and you can make a kebab, you know, a typical sandwich, a kebab.
Yes.
Yeah, I think kebab is the same name in Brazil because
Yes.
every country I go to, I see kebab, kebab, kebab. Okay, so I think it's the same name in Brazil. I'm not sure, but in a
Yes.
kebab, what they do is
Delicious.
they have a circle of meat and they cut it
Yes.
and then they put it inside of a pita bread. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Any other question about this part?
No.
Understand the meaning of dough?
Yes.
Okay? So the Egyptians were the first, let's say, people to use a little old dough in the new bread. You can say, what? This is kind of strange. Because they were making a fresh dough and they would put a little old dough. Yes, this was the original process. Yes, yes. This was the original process of what today we call it sourdough, okay? Or sourdough in English, or lievito madre
Yes.
in Italian, or pasta madre in Spanish, okay? It's always the same. Or levain in France, okay? Levain, sourdough, lievito madre, pasta madre, levain. This is the same technique. I use the same technique in my bread, okay?
Oh,
Yes, yeah. It's a very old technique. And it's 100% natural, no chemicals.
yes,
Understand?
yes.
I
Very
don't
good.
use any kind of industrial yeast, okay? I use sourdough or levain, okay?
Okay.
Or pasta madre, I don't know. It depends on where I am, okay?
Yeah.
In your case.
Yeah, there are many names. I think in Brazil they call it fermentação natural.
Natural.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I think that's the name in Brazil. As I said, I'm not sure about anything in Brazil, okay? I don't even remember who is the president. Who is the president there? Is it still Bolsonaro?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, keep him there. Good for you. Okay, Marcia,
Hi.
are you there or you're having a snack?
Yes. Wait.
Okay, can you read the next part for me, please?
Is Egyptian?
Yes.
This Egyptian bread was a flat bread. Indian naan and Middle Eastern pita are two examples of flat breads eaten today. At the end of the ancient Egyptian period, however, around 3000 BC.
In my copy is
300 BC.
Yes.
Egyptian baker added to their bread an important ingredient, yeast. Yeast is a microscopic fungus. It makes bread rise.
Okay, we say microscopic.
A microscope.
And here, Marcia, this word is a little interesting because the Y, when it's at the beginning of a word, like here, we say yellow, right? Yellow. But here I have E, and then I have E. So it's a lot of E's, like east, east, okay?
Yes, east.
East, okay? You have like,
one.
yes, east. If you only say east, you know what they understand?
Yes.
Oh,
East.
east is this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes you say a little phrase and an American says, pardon? What? Because the difference sometimes is maybe insignificant for you, but for them, there is another word. So imagine you say, I am going to put some yeast in my bread. It's not possible to understand that. Understand? So it's not east, it's east. East. Okay?
Okay. Sorry.
No problem. I'm here to help you. Okay? I want you to speak perfect English. That's why I am kind of a mean teacher sometimes. Okay? Any other question about this part or no?
No.
Yeah, the Egyptians were the first people to use yeast in their bread. Understand? And they would do that by using a archaic process of sourdough. They would just make the bread, get get a little piece of it and save it for tomorrow. And the next day they would put the old dough in the fresh dough. Shape the bread and save a little piece for tomorrow, for the day after. Always like this, okay? And this was a natural yeast process, or sourdough, or leave to madre. In Egyptian, I'm sorry, I have no idea how they say it. I speak no Arabic. Huh?
Livan.
Yes. Yes. And here in Europe, when you find sourdough bread, okay, it's, I would say, a lot more expensive than the industrial yeast bread, okay? Because the sourdough process is very slow. Understand? Yes. In my case, it takes me like 48 hours to prepare a bread. with sourdough. A pizza, for instance, when I make a pizza, it's 3 days, 72 hours. Okay? So it's a long process. If you put artificial or let's say industrialized yeast, you can prepare it in 2 hours. But then when you eat, you feel heavier than you are. So I prefer the sourdough. Okay?
Okay.
Mr. Malinovsky, can you read the next part for me, please? If you have no other question.
Today, bread production is more complicated. Yes, you can still bake your own bread at home with store-bought flour and
Bought
flour and
flour.
flour and yeast.
Okay, good.
You can also buy bread made at small bakeries, but the fluffy bread you see in grocery stores in the United States today is made in large commercial facilities. These commercial facilities or plants have business contracts to bake many different bread brands.
Brands, okay. Any question about this part or it's okay?
Okay.
No question?
No.
Okay, now Eric is not here, so we are back to this. Can you read the last part? Most breads.
Yes, most breads today are made using for basic ingredients, flour, yeast, salt, and water. Farmers across the United States grow wheat in large quantities. Half of the wheat produced is used in the United States. The other half is exported to other countries.
Okay.
Grain.
It's okay. Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
We say half.
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 Where? Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. Half is the companion of Christian. Christian and half. Remember? Okay.
Half of
half. Yes. The other half.
They live yet.
Huh?
They are live yet.
No, I remember Christian and half. Okay. I don't know if they are still alive. Okay.
Sorry, but the correct is half.
Half. Yes, exactly. Half. You don't pronounce the L. Half.
Christian half.
Yes. Do they still exist or no?
I don't know.
I don't know too.
I don't know too.
I don't know either. Negative sentences. We don't use to. We only use to at the end of affirmative sentence. I don't know either. Or if Erica were here, she would say either. Okay?
I don't know either.
I don't know either.
Yes. Either or either are the same word.
The same.
Regina, read the last paragraph for us, please. Grain is processed.
Grain is processed into flour by companies which then sell the flour to commercial bakeries. These bakeries produce the dough and bake the bread. They package and arrange for its distribution to stores.
Distribution.
Distribution.
Yes.
Distribution.
Arrange. Yes. Arrange is fine.
Arrange.
They prepare, they arrange it for its distribution to stores. Any other question about these or no?
No.
Let's go to the next part, okay?
Okay.
Regina, can you read the question and ask Marcia to answer it, please? Number 1.
Marcia, what have people been doing for 30,000 years? A, growing it. B,
Growing.
sorry, growing it. B, planting crops. C, eating bread. Or D, using yeast.
Yes.
C.
Okay, congratulations.
Eating bread.
Okay. Regina said congratulations, so you must be right. Okay, Marcia? Thank you, my assistant. It's not even, I can be quiet now. I think I'll take a nap.
Oh, sorry, teacher.
No, I'm very happy. I'm very happy that you participate. It's perfect. Marcia, can you read and ask Mr. Malinovsky the question number 2, please?
Yes. The sequence of bread baking by the ancient Egyptians is described in the passage. When ancient Egyptians first baked bread, what happened before the flour was mixed with water? A little bit of old dough was mixed in with the new dough. B, the grain was ground by hand on a millstone. C, the dough was placed in a pot and baked in a clay oven. D, home bakers baked the bread they would need for the day.
You see,
Mr. Malinovsky.
Yes.
pronouncing his name is more difficult than pronouncing
Yeah.
yeast. Yeast. Okay? And if you talk about his hometown, no comments, okay?
I think letter A.
I agree with you.
Okay.
Oh, pay
think it
attention. I don't think it's letter A.
Letter
B.
B.
Oh, before, what happened before the flour was mixed with water? Before, what was necessary to do?
The grain was
The flour.
Yes, it was necessary to get the flour because you cannot bake the bread with the wheat. You need to grind the wheat and make the flour. So the correct is letter B. The grain was ground by hand on a millstone.
Yeah.
Understand?
Okay.
That's the correct. Mr. Malinovsky, can you read the question number 3 and ask Dirce to answer it, please?
Bread was the most important source of carbohydrates for ancient Egyptians because they did not have rice or potatoes.
Or pizza.
Pizza. What conclusion? What conclusion does this evidence support? Letter A. Ancient Egyptians did not borrow foods from other cultures.
Cultures. Yes.
Letter B. Ancient Egyptians had access to an endless variety of foods. Ancient Egyptians did not know how to grow rice and potatoes. D. Ancient Egyptians had limited dietary
Resources.
Dietary?
Yes, that was okay. I was waiting for you to finish. But diet, okay? Our expert in diet is not your teacher, okay? It's Gislaine. She's the expert in diet. She's a nutritionist, right, Gislaine?
Right, teacher.
Yeah, so that's your area of expertise, not mine. I only know how to break a diet, okay? So it's dietary resources. You see, If you have only this word, yes, if you have only this word, you say sources, okay?
Okay.
And then I add the prefix re, and I say resources, okay?
Okay.
So ask Dirce what is the correct answer.
Here's what the correct answer for this question.
I think letter D.
Yes.
Everybody agrees?
Yes.
I think
agree.
it's letter C.
Me too.
Oh,
I don't think it's letter C. I think I agree with Dirce. Why?
E?
Read letter C for me, Ghislaine.
ancient,
Ancient.
ancient, ancient Egyptians did not know how to grow rice and potatoes.
They did not know or they did not have access to rice and potatoes. Understand?
Yes.
That's the difference.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe rice and potatoes was not available at that time. And how can you grow rice in Egypt if you have no water?
Yes.
Understand?
Yes,
All right?
Right.
So this was right. They ate a lot of bread. Okay, that was the basis of their diet. That was the only carbohydrate source they had. So letter D says that they had limited dietary resources, which is true because they only had bread. Okay?
Okay.
This is. Can you read the question number 4 and ask Ghislaine to answer, please?
What kind of climate did the ancient Egypt have? Letter A, dry. Letter B, tropical. Letter C, wet. Letter D, cold. It's the correct answer, Ghislaine?
Yes.
Yes. I think letter A, dry. Very dry.
Exactly. Any question or no? You got a very easy one, Ghislaine. That's not fair, okay? Ask number 5 to Regina, please.
Okay. What is this passage mostly about? Letter A. Why ancient Egyptians use emmer, wheat,
Yes, absolutely correct. Wheat.
wheat. Letter B. Different types of flatbreads. Letter C. The development of bread baking.
Oh,
Letter D. Oh,
Ghislaine,
yes.
every time you see a big word, probably it was formed by using prefixes or suffixes. You have the verb to develop, and then you add meant to transform the verb into a noun. Then when you are going to pronounce, you say development. Oh, development. Okay, you can break your pronunciation at the prefix or at the suffix. You decide.
Okay. Development of bread baking. Better?
Yes, much better.
Letter D. Wheat production in the United States.
Wheat.
Wheat
Yes.
production in the
Production.
Production. Oh, yes.
I think that letter C.
Do you guys agree with Regina or anyone disagrees?
I agree.
Yes, I agree.
I agree.
Thank you.
Me too. Congratulations. Regina, just to finish this, can you ask Marcia question number 6, please?
Okay, read the following sentence. Egypt gets little rain. Ancient Egyptian farmers relied on the annual flooding of the Nile River to irrigate their fields. What does the word irrigate mean? Letter A, dry something out. B, supply with water. C, plant seeds in earth. D, make rows in the ground. Make rows in the ground.
I put B.
Do you
Supply
guys with
water.
water? Do you guys agree with Marcia?
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
I agree too.
So, me too, me 4, me 5, whatever. Okay, we can stop here. You only have 3 more questions. And for tomorrow, I'd like something different. In this class, you saw the basic ingredients that are used to make bread. So, as I have already told you many times, bread is my passion. It's my favorite thing. One day without bread for me is like a day without sun, okay? Anyway, what I would like to know, what is your favorite food? Think about it. Think about what ingredients do you need to prepare your favorite food? You can look up at Google if you need, but I want to know. My favorite food is, in my case, bread. And I really only need 4 ingredients: flour, whole wheat, rye, or white flour, yeast, that I use the sourdough, but it's a form of yeast, water, and salt. That's it. I'm happy. Okay? Think about what is your favorite food? What ingredients do you need? Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
And I'll see you guys tomorrow at the same time at the same place. All right? Have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much for watching my class, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right?
All right.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye for now.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
everybody.
Bye, Marcia.
Bye.